You are Locked On Clippers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello again, and welcome to the Locked On Clippers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers Postcast brought to you by, what day is it? It's Thursday, so that means it's brought to you by FanDuel. Yes, indeed. Super Bowl 59 is here, right around the corner, a few days away. No better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. New customers can bet just $5. And if you win that bet, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. Well, tonight's Clippers game was some good stuff, a lot of bad stuff, and in the end, an embarrassing loss. No such thing really as an embarrassing win. That was an embarrassing loss. It's not officially over yet. Pacers are up 6 with 9 seconds to go. But this game can be summed up pretty easily with one statistical category, and that is the turnovers. I mean, we talk about it on a regular basis here on the Clippers Postcast. When the Clippers do not take care of the ball, they have a very tough time winning. Tonight it was awful, and yet and still, they had a crack at winning this game. I mean, they did not deserve it by any stretch of the imagination. Great first quarter, ugly second quarter. The third quarter was mostly a mess, but they kind of got it back on track halfway, 3/4 through the third quarter. They played a nice fourth quarter until the final few minutes. And then once again, the end of the quarter, which is also the end of the game, was a problem. I don't understand how the Clippers have this inability to close out a quarter. They just fall apart. It's an epidemic for them. It really is. 119-112 the final as the Clippers lose to the Pacers, who are a very good team. But this one should not have been a loss. I'm sorry. I hate to play that game, but I'm gonna. This game was not one that they should have let get away. There was so many opportunities for them to win this game. And when you go on a 0-20 run, meaning the Pacers outscored the Clippers in the second 20-0 at one point. I have James Harden on the bucket list. He had a bucket at the 3:15 mark of the second. It made it 58-45 Clippers, which immediately turned into a 20-0 run by the Pacers. How does that happen? How? Please, somebody explain that to me. This is the, quote, second best defensive team in the league. How do you give up a 20-0 run after you had a 20-point advantage in the first quarter? I am stunned and flabbergasted. It's unbelievable. They had full strength. Kawhi is in there, played 33 minutes. He was up and down, though. Big first quarter. Nothing for the second or the third. He was 0 for 5 in the third quarter. Had some meaningful buckets in the fourth. Hit a big three at the 4:17 mark, 103-98. But then turnovers, missed shots, and easy buckets for the Pacers. I don't know. The Clippers clearly have an ability to play this game at a very high level, but their inconsistency is just way too much in many, many different departments. Can we talk about the free throws for a second? 13 of 18? I mean, that's awful. 72%. I mean, it's not awful. It's just bad. Let's leave it at bad. 17 of 40 from beyond the arc. 42% is okay. 41 of 88 from the floor for 46%. I mean, they outshot the Pacers in every category except the free throws. When the Pacers were going off in the second and Siakam was killing them, they were still out shooting them by a good 10%. The turnovers thing, to me, has to be cleaned up on a regular basis. It can't just be, we're going to have one game where we don't turn the ball over to an inordinate amount. It's got to be like, let's have 3 games where we keep the turnovers in check. And by that, I mean under 10. They had a good game against the Lakers in the turnover department. That was the only good thing they did really against the Lakers, because their defense was atrocious. Their effort wasn't there. Their energy was low. Their desire, all of it completely absent. Tonight it was too at times. They came out of the break after giving up a 20-0 run. They had a 3 right before halftime to make it a 3-point ball game. So a 64-61 Pacers. Clippers with 11 turnovers in the first half. Brian Shaw's word to Lauren at the break was, we got to control the ball. Duh. Thanks, Shaw. They also have to control the pace, was his estimation. And by that, I think he meant increase the pace. In the third quarter, early on, no pace. They were walking the ball up, no energy, no passing. All of the things that just drive me absolutely insane. The Clippers did just about everything wrong today that they possibly could for the majority of this game. All of the second, good portion of the third, and late in the fourth. The meaningful parts of this game. I wouldn't say that's probably half. That's not the majority. That's about half of this game. But that's on the heels of a brilliant first quarter where they had 10 threes, shooting over 60% in the first quarter. 20-point lead, and they blow it. Now, I know the Pacers are good. The best team in 2025, record-wise. 12-2 over their last 14 on the road. So they're no joke. It's not like they're a pushover. But when you jump out to a 20-point lead, you got to keep it close to that. And you can't just surrender that. Cough it up with a 20-0 run in the second. They had 16 points off 11 turnovers, did the Pacers, in the first half. So I guess we could say they got a little better with the turnovers in the second half. Not much. 8 turnovers in the second half. But just about everything that could possibly go wrong did in that second quarter and the third quarter. No defense. Their famous Olay in the lane. For those of you that don't know what that is and have never seen a bullfight, it's what the Matador does to the bull with his cape. Olay. Just let the bull go by. That's what the Clippers were doing in the lane to Siakam, and who else was penetrating and scoring with ease? Who was that guy? Shepard, Obi Toppin, Benedict, Mathurin had 25. All those guys, just easy looks at the basket. Easy. No pace, no rhythm, no energy, no want to, no desire, no passing. It was a game full of no's. No victory. It's frustrating. It really is, because they should have won this game. They should have won this game. If you don't have 19 turnovers and you don't fall apart and give up a 20-0 run in the second, you win this game. They should really be upset tonight. There should be stuff thrown around the locker room. Should be a ton of foul language. They should be giving the reporters in the locker room grief. I don't want to talk to you. It's probably dead quiet in there after this one. Lakers get the win. BC checking in. Go Lakers beating the Warriors. Kamala Harris in attendance. Fahad says, fire Lawrence Frank, please. You don't like the deals, Fahad? We'll talk about that after the break. Clippers made a bunch of deals right before the trade deadline today. We'll talk about those, some names and some popular players on the move. We'll get to that after the break. Clippers lose tonight in embarrassing fashion after a 20-point lead in the first quarter. They fall apart. They lose to the Pacers 119-112. They had the lead in the fourth, but could not hold on to it. I'm Pete Fox. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast brought to you by FanDuel. Of course, you know 59. The 59th Super Bowl, also known as Super Bowl 59, is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities. And there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook, whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, the coin toss, the length of the national anthem. Will they run the opening kickoff back, total yards for the quarterbacks, the running backs, all of those things. Longest field goal, most field goals, the exotics go crazy in the Super Bowl. And even if you're not a big wagerer, big bettor, this is the time of year when you get on board and you take a crack at it, because it just makes the Super Bowl way more interesting and fun. And with FanDuel, they have live betting. That feature allows you to stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing that you can place just a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, that's icing on the cake. Download the app today and head to FanDuel.com to get started. Just $5, and if you win that bet, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Get it going for Super Bowl 59. Bet with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 59. Well, the Clippers stepped in it tonight, letting one slip away, wetting the bed, leaving the barn door open. An ugly second quarter where they were outscored 42-19. And a nice third quarter, and when it was all said and done, outscoring the Pacers 27-20. But in the fourth, Pacers got back on track and outscored the Clippers 35-24. Yeah, the majority of the third quarter, to me, felt like it was the Pacers. The Clippers did get on a nice run and grab a lead at the end of that, like the last 5 to 6 minutes of the third quarter. But for the most part, they just played lethargically and kind of, I guess you could say, withstood what the Pacers were doing. They took advantage, honestly, of the Pacers reserves being in, with Siakam on the bench and Miles Turner, who didn't score. I mean, Nembhard, Tyrese Halliburton was another one that was a load to deal with. Mathurin, when those guys were out resting in the third quarter and the reserves were in, that's when the Clippers got on a roll and got things going. So they took advantage of what was presented to them. They just couldn't withstand what the Pacers had when the starters got back in there. Their energy just wasn't good enough. I don't know what goes on with the Clippers at the end of a quarter, but something happens. They do not have the ability to finish a quarter. They fall apart more often than not. And tonight it was at the end of the second and the end of the game when they had it back to a tie ball game, had it close, one possession game, turnovers, bad looks, bad passes, missed shots, leading to easy buckets for the Pacers, and they cruise 119-112. As for the deals that were made today, Clippers acquiring some size, and they did that by trading a fan favorite in Terrence Mann and Bones Highland to Atlanta for Bogdan Bogdanovic, who is kind of a point forward, can definitely score, and I think he's going to fit in very well because the Clippers definitely could use a little bit more scoring. One of my favorites, the guy that I have dubbed the most athletic dude on the team, Kevin Porter Jr., on the move as well. Came to the Clippers just this year, so didn't even make it through one full season. But an athletic dude who played hard. So I was kind of sorry to see that happen. They traded him to Milwaukee in exchange for Marjan Beauchamp, who I don't know anything about. He averages either 0 points a game or 2 points a game, but he's 6'7", and I'm assuming they got him because he has some size. One of the other things tonight to me that was frustrating, and I understand that Chris Dunn is not an offensive player. He is a defensive player. And you have to understand when you're watching basketball that that's important. You don't need a guy to just score. You need them to play defense as well. And, that doesn't always show up in the box score. That's Chris Dunn's game. What he does not show up in the box score. But he missed a ton of big shots tonight. I'm like, stop shooting. I felt like I was watching Russell Westbrook again. It was only 0 for 5, but they were all important. Stop shooting. Stop. 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal, only 1 turnover. A good game. I hate to get on him. He had 1 point, but missed a lot of important shots at meaningful times because he was wide open. Well, there's a reason for that. Pacers knew what they were doing. The Clippers at times tonight were passing the ball well. More often than not, they weren't. Ball was stuck. Kawhi, ISO, and that's normally fine. And it ended up being fine in the end. Kawhi, big buckets, playing aggressive, taking over. I just wished he would have done it earlier. Do it before the last minute of the game, the last 3 minutes of the game. And, they're still harping on this minute restriction. Enough already. Let him play. Stop with the minutes restriction. He's healthy. He's fine. Now, I don't know if maybe, Brian Siemens making a bigger deal of it than Ty Lue is. It seems like he's always talking about, I'm surprised how long he's been on the floor. Oh, it's 33 minutes. Everybody else played more than that. It's fine. He's healthy. Let him go. 7 of 16, 3 of 6, 19 points. 5 turnovers, though. Kawhi's there are times when he's just lazy all of a sudden. That's not something we've ever said about Kawhi Leonard. Lazy. James Harden, 4 turnovers. A couple of them were like, what what happened there? One of them was like, is either Kawhi or Harden had a turnover in the last couple of minutes. And Brian Siemens literally said, what happened there? Is what we were all thinking. What was that? How did that happen? It was just like like fumbling it away. Here you go. Gift wrapped. So we'll have to see how this all comes together. I think it's going to be okay. I like Terrence Mann. I feel like Terrence Mann is a good player. He brings a little bit of everything to the table. He can play offense. He can play defense. He's been very flexible. He's been a team guy. He'll do whatever you ask him to do. It's not a problem. Easy to deal with. And, in moving him around to different positions, coming off the bench at different places, different spots in the rotation, he was always like, okay, whatever you need, I'll do it. He was always up for it. It's a good attitude to have. So it's kind of unfortunate to see him go, but for Bogdanović, sometimes you got to make those tough deals. As far as Kevin Porter Jr., honestly, I'm a little surprised, but I feel like that's good news for Derek Jones Jr. They're relatively the same player, and that's going to be good for Derek Jones Jr. He's going to get more time now because Kevin Porter Jr. is not there. But I'm sure he had 27 minutes tonight. I'm sure his minutes will be cut back when Bogdan shows up, when he starts playing, whenever that is. Drew Eubanks tonight, the new acquisition from a couple of days ago. The big man played 13 minutes, meaningful minutes, couple of meaningful buckets, 5 rebounds, played hard. It was nice to see. I like what I see from him in Drew Eubanks. Let's get to the bucket list right after the break. Sorry, I got sidetracked with the trade deadline and all the acquisitions. So Clippers lose tonight. A game they should have won. 119-112 to the Pacers. Clippers now 28-22, while the Pacers are 28-21, 13-13 on the road. But they've won 13 of their last 15 on the road since the start of 2025. January 1st has been very good to the Pacers. They're on a roll, playing very, very well, trying to back up their conference finals appearance last year. I'm Pete Fox. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. We appreciate you allowing us to be your source for your team every day. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Clippers postcast also brought to you by Prize Picks. Basketball season is here in full swing, and there's no better way to get in the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. Over 10 million members and billions awarded in winnings. Prize Picks makes it easy and fun to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Here's how it works. You just pick more or less on at least two players from two teams and their stat projections. And if you're right, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks even has free picks for the big game where Patrick Mahomes only needs to throw 1 yard to win. Pair that with one or more correct picks and you're cashing out. That's pretty cool. So they're giving you a freebie. You got to get two. They're giving you one. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to get at least 1 yard. So download the app, get ready for the big game. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's LOCKEDONNBA. $50 instantly after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. The Locked On Clippers postcast. I'm your host, Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. This Clipper team to me is fairly reminiscent of Clipper teams that we've seen over the years. They have a lot of talent, but not a lot of upside, not a lot of hope. I feel like, yeah, they're a good team, but is there momentum? Is there positivity? I don't know. I mean, I like the fact that they made some deals, but I look at this team and I just go, we don't know what we've got here. When we did the Lakers game, the crossover postcast a couple of nights ago, we talked about it at the end, Dave and I, that's what the Lakers were dealing with. I don't know, like 2-3 weeks ago. I didn't really know what they had. I think they know what they have now. They traded Dalton Connect because they said, basically, we don't need him. We need more size. And that's what they did, acquiring that big guy, Williams. Ricky Williams? No, that's the football player. I don't remember his first name. Not familiar with the guy. But anyway, they traded Dalton Connect because they're like, we don't need him. We've got plenty of shooting. The Clippers are like, I still think they're trying to figure out who they are and how they play. Honestly, you look at it and go, are we a defensive team? Well, our stats say that we are second in the league defensively, but we give up 20-0 runs. Good defensive teams don't do that. It's just frustrating. It really is. Norm Powell, good player, playing well. 8 of 19 tonight, 22 points. James Harden, 7 of 14, 4 of 9. Only turned the ball over 4 times, 22 points. They got off to a good start. Built a nice lead. Punched the Pacers right in the mouth to start the game. And then guess what? Left the barn door open. Wet the bed. All right, here's the top 5 buckets of the night on the bucket list. Number 5, Norm Powell had a 3. The 4:17 mark of the first. Made it 26-14. It was just Norm doing his thing. Got a good look. Wasn't a great look, but it was good enough for Norm and made it count. For number 4, Coffee had a 3 from the wing at the 2:54 mark of the first. It made it 29-14. He backed it up with another one about two and change later. 17 seconds to go in the first. That built the 20-point lead for the Clippers. 42-22. Coffee had a nice night and all with 4 threes, 4 of 7 from the floor for 14 points. Number 3, Derek Jones Jr. had a sweet dunk on an alley-oop from James Harden with a really nice pass from beyond the arc. Put it right on Derek Jones, who was wide open under the basket, and he slammed it down. 417. It made it 53-43. And then for number 2, Harden hit a 3 off of a steal. He intercepted a pass, dribbled down, basically had an open look from the top of the key, took it and nailed it. Again, this was when it all went south for the Clippers. The 3:15 mark of the second quarter, they were up 58-45. It happened so freaking fast. And that's another thing that is, to me, unforgivable. Like, it felt like Ty Lue was just letting them stew in their own misery, and he's very, very good at calling timeouts to stop a run. Didn't do it there. I felt like he was trying to teach them a lesson. He did not call a timeout, and the Clippers could not figure out a way to get out of their own way. Turnovers, bad looks, everything went wrong in those final 3 minutes of the second quarter. And that, to me, is one of those things where the leader of the team, whoever that is, Kawhi, Harden, Norm, somebody's got to say, let's slow it down. Let's find Zoo in the paint, get some easy buckets. More than anything else, if we can't get easy buckets, we're going to keep them from getting run out easy buckets off of turnovers. Zoo had a sizable advantage in the paint all night and definitely had a good game. They named him player of the game on the broadcast, going 8 of 11 for 18 points with 15 boards. But I think that could have very easily been 28. They just didn't find him enough when they needed to. As for number 1 and 1A, Norm Powell had a dribble drive at the 7:04 mark of the third, and the foul, of course, missed the free throw. That made it 76-69. So this is when the Clippers were climbing back into it in the third. And for number 1A, James Harden hit a 3 with 1 minute remaining in the third to make it 86-84, giving the Clippers the lead there, probably for the last time of the night, because Kawhi just wasn't hot until the fourth quarter. And they did have the lead in the fourth. So it wasn't, that wasn't their last lead. I don't remember exactly when it was. They had the lead by 5 with 4:17 to go after Kawhi hit a 3, made it 103-98. And as I said, turnovers, bad passes, bad looks, not aggressive. All of a sudden, it just unraveled for them. The defense in the paint most of the night was bad. Easy layups, easy dunks for Pascal Siakam and the Pacers. Siakam, by the way, a big night after 20 in the first half. He finished with 33, which included 5 threes and a very, very efficient night shooting, going 13 of 19. The Clippers defense in the paint was a little better in the fourth quarter, but the biggest stat of the night, and I don't know if I mentioned the points, the 19 turnovers we've talked about, unforgivable. That just can't happen. It can't happen if you want to win. If you want to lose, then yeah, sure. 19 turnovers is no problem. 32 points off of those 19 turnovers. 32 points. That's just too much. It is way. Let's just, let's play the game that you play when you golf. Oh, if I'd have just bogeyed that hole instead of tripling it, right? I'd have shot 83. Let's play that game for a second. Let's just turn this in half. Let's say the Clippers have 10 turnovers and the Pacers only score 20. That's not, or 16, 17, 20 off of turnovers, right? The Clippers win easily. So obviously that's the reason they lost this game. But there was a lot of other things that just didn't go well either. Biggest lead for the Clippers was 22. That sort of turnaround. What was that number on the turnaround? 36, something to that effect. Pacers went on a 19-0 run, 3 lead changes, tied 6 times. But as far as the other numbers, points in the paint, Indiana wins that one, 54-44. Second chance points, the Pacers took that category, 20-17. The Clippers won the fast break category, 20-10. to 19. So I guess that is something, but you can't have that many turnovers. They've just got to clean it up. They have to be more efficient. It wasn't because they were trying to pass the ball too much. I felt like they were just lazy moving the ball around. The passes were not crisp. They were indecisive on a regular basis. So, and just sloppy with the ball. Just frustrating. Felt like a game that they should win, but they did not. They lose to the Pacers 119-112. Off tomorrow being Friday. Back to work on Saturday against the Utah Jazz. That should be one they can get. And hopefully they can turn things around and we can say, yes, the defense was good. Yes, they played with pace. They had rhythm. They had energy. They wanted this game. They played determined basketball. Unlike tonight, because all of those things did not happen. No defense, no pace, no rhythm, no energy, no want to. And that is no good. That is not going to get it done. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. We come on right after the game and we break it down for you. Tonight, it was a tough one to break down. To relive that one was not all that much fun. Frustrating to be sure. But that's what we do here on Locked On. We break it down for you, especially on the postcast. We tell you what happened and we give you our 2 cents. So we thank you for watching and listening. We thank you for the comments. I'm Pete Fox. I'll be back with you on Saturday. It's the Locked On Clippers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Have a good night. Take care. We will talk on Saturday.